Hi guys! For today's math lesson, we are going to learn about mass. Let's start with the definition. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. To measure mass, we can use some different units. We can use the US customary units of ounces and pounds, and we can use metric units of grams and kilograms. For third grade studies, we are going to focus strictly on grams and kilograms. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Mrs. Fraser, if you are talking about ounces and pounds and grams and kilograms, don't you really mean weight? Aren't we measuring weight with those things and not mass? And that is a common thing that people get confused, mass and weight. So let's talk about how those two things are different. We just said that mass is the amount of matter in an object, and weight is actually different. Weight is the measure of the force of gravity on an object. So weight can change depending on where it's measured. If your weight is measured on Earth, let's say you weigh 100 pounds on Earth, but in space you would weigh 0 pounds because in space you would be weightless because there's no gravity. But your mass, whatever your mass is on Earth, it would be the same in space because you are made up of the same amount of matter no matter where you are. The only way your matter is going to change is if you grow, right? But you're still made up of the same amount of matter here or in space. So people use the terms weight and mass kind of interchangeably. So when people are saying how much do you weigh, what they're really asking you though is what is your mass? All right, so back to the gram and the kilogram. To give you an idea of what a gram is and what a kilogram is, I want you to think of them like this. A gram is about the same as a paperclip. So when you're trying to figure out, well, what is a gram? It's about the same as one paperclip. A kilogram is about the same as one of those hardcover dictionaries that we had over in the corner of our classroom. So when you're trying to figure out what does a kilogram feel like, it's about that. If you held one of those hardcover dictionaries from our classroom in your hands, that's what it would feel like. That would be the mass of a kilogram. So keep that in mind. What can we use to measure mass? These are the tools that we can use. We can use a scale, like this kitchen scale with the broccoli in the picture. That's a kitchen scale. Maybe you have one at home. We can use a triple beam balance. Maybe you've used one of those in science lab. And we can use a hanging scale. So one of the things that we need to do in third grade math class is to think about, well, what's the best unit of measure for something? So we have to decide, when given an object, would it be better to measure this object with grams or kilograms? So let's do some examples. If you had a pencil, would you measure the pencil with grams or kilograms? What unit of measurement would make the most sense? So hopefully you're thinking that grams would make the most sense because grams are smaller and pencils are not very large, right? So it would make the most sense to use the gram. What about an airplane? Hopefully you're thinking kilograms are a better unit of measurement for something like an airplane, which is a very large item. Let's try another one. A piano. Grams or kilograms? I think kilograms make more sense. Piano is large. Kilograms are the bigger unit, so let's go with kilograms. Let's try one more. What about a caterpillar? Grams or kilograms? Grams make more sense. Caterpillars are small. Grams are small. It makes more sense. All right, so that's one of the kinds of tasks that we need to do, is figure out the best unit of measurement. Another thing that we need to be able to do is to estimate mass. So we need to be able to look at an item and decide what is the mass of this item? We don't have scales to measure it. We're just trying to figure out, based on some measurements that were given, multiple choice, what would make the most sense. And remember, when we're doing an estimate, it is a best reasonable guess. It's not just a guess that we make willy-nilly or pull out of the air. It's what makes sense, what's reasonable. So let's look at some examples of this. So let's say we're trying to come up with the mass of a horse. And we have some choices: 400 grams, 400 kilograms, 20 grams, 20 kilograms. What mass makes the most sense for the horse? So hopefully you are thinking what I'm thinking, which is that there are two answer choices that are totally wrong, that do not make sense at all, that are unreasonable, and I can just cross them out. And those are the answers with grams, because there's no way that this horse could be measured by 20 grams or 400 grams. It could not equal that, right? Because we wouldn't use grams to measure the horse. So those answers don't make sense. They're not reasonable. So then we're left with 400 kilograms or 20 kilograms. So what makes the most sense? And if I'm trying to then compare to what I know a kilogram feels like, right? The mass of 1 kilogram, we said 1 kilogram is about the same as one of those dictionaries. So do I think that the horse is close to 20 of the dictionaries or 400 dictionaries? Well, a horse is a really big animal, and I think that 20 dictionaries is too little. That's not enough. So I think 400 kilograms is the best. That's the best answer. Let's look at another example. Here we have a letter. So my choices are 30 grams, 25 kilograms, 2 grams, and 1 kilogram. Again, there should be two answers that just straight off the bat you know you can get rid of. We know we can get rid of 25 kilograms and 1 kilogram. There's no way that this envelope weighs, ooh, see, I just said weight because it's just so prevalent. But there's no way that the mass of this envelope is 25 kilograms or 1 kilogram, right? It's just, that's not reasonable. So we're looking at 30 grams or 2 grams. So which one of those makes the most sense? So if I'm trying to compare the envelope to 30 paper clips or 2 paper clips, well, which one makes the most sense? I think a letter, if I'm thinking about a letter with the stamp and with the contents inside, I think the 30 grams makes more sense. That's a more reasonable answer for the mass of the letter. All right, so let's look at one more example. Let's look at this glue stick. We have choices for the mass of the glue stick are 1 kilogram, 500 grams, 62 grams, and 1 gram. So hopefully you are seeing some choices that we could definitely get rid of. I know for sure I could get rid of 1 kilogram, because 1 kilogram it's like that big dictionary, and I know that a glue stick is not about the same as one dictionary. They do not have about the same mass. So that's a no. And I also know I could get rid of 1 gram, right? Because I know that 1 gram is 1 paper clip, and I know a glue stick is not the same as 1 paper clip. That's too, the paper clip is too little to be the same as the glue stick. So now I'm left with 500 grams and 62 grams. So which one of those makes the most sense? Well, 500 grams seems like a lot, and 62 grams to me seems like a more reasonable answer of the two. So 62 grams is the best estimate for the mass of the glue stick. All right, guys, that is the end of today's lesson on mass. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you are all doing well. I miss you, and I really do hope I will see you soon. Bye.